Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring the Jet Jerry O'Lace, Rocket J. Squirrel, and his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
In our last episode, you remember, Rocky and Captain Peachfuzz had been whisked to the undersea land of Submerbia. Their transportation was a strange-looking beast that turned out to be a submarine vehicle containing the mayor of Submerbia, Fiorella La Pompano, and the long-lost Bullwinkle Moose.
Bullwinkle, is it really you?
It was when I got up this morning.
And Bullwinkle started to tell his strange saga, how he had been in a rowboat when the mysterious eye surfaced beside him, how he had grabbed it and been pulled underwater, and how when he tried to get away, he had been drawn back by a big underwater vacuum.
It's curtains for you, Drylander.
The name is Bullwinkle.
But you're a Drylander, aren't you?
Drylander? I'm from Minnesota.
So?
The land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh, well, what are you doing out here on the ocean?
Trying to catch Maybe Dick, the wailing whale.
Good friend, pal, chum, confrère, prêté.
No, wait.
Amigo mio.
Stay here.
Camarade, tavares.
Hold it.
Buddy boy.
How come the slather of friendly all of a sudden?
Because any enemy of Maybe Dick's is a friend of mine.
Well, then you ought to meet my pal, Rocky Squirrel.
Love to. Where is he?
Oh, he's on board our ship, the... Hi, Rock. The Athabasco, where he... Rocky!
That's a squirrel.
You ever see a fish with goggles?
No, but then I never saw a squirrel with goggles either.
He must be looking for me.
Hang on, we'll pick him up and take him home with us.
Home? Where's home?
Submerbia, of course.
Oh, of course, I should have known.
And as we saw, the odd-shaped craft had grabbed hold of Rocky and Captain Peachfuzz and taken them through a solid rock cliff to the city of Submerbia.
You mean this whole city is underwater?
Certainly, look there.
Sure enough, fish were swimming by just a short distance from our friend.
Boy, there goes a keen sea bass, Rock. I'll catch it for dinner.
No, wait.
But Bullwinkle made a lunge for the fish, only to find...
Oh! Boy, that's what I call hard water.
It's not hard water. You hit the plastic dome.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting a lump on it.
Not your plastic dome, our plastic dome.
Oh.
You mean?
Yes, a big dome covers our whole city. That's what keeps us warm and dry.
It's sort of like a big sky.
Yeah, but where does your light come from?
Where else? From sunfish.
And at night, I suppose it's covered with,
Starfish.
figures.
But at that moment, our heroes were startled to feel the whole ground shake underneath their feet.
Hey, what's happening, Mayor La Pompano?
Oh, dear. We're having one of our sea quakes.
Seaquakes? I never heard of seaquakes.
You've heard of earthquakes, haven't you?
Yeah, and hot quakes, too.
A sea quake is an underwater earthquake.
Hang on, Rocky.
To what?
To me. Maybe that'll keep me from rattling around.
What causes seaquakes, Mayor La Pompano?
You'll find out in a minute, Rocky.
In less than that, actually, for in the next second, a dark shadow swept across them and an enormous shape made its way through the water above Submerbia.
Hokey smoke, what is it?
I can answer that, Rocky. It's Maybe Dick.
Yes, it was Maybe Dick. And so huge was the Leviathan of the deep that his very passing shook Submerbia violently.
Oh, I do hope the dome doesn't crack.
You had to open your big gills.
Sure enough, water was pouring through a crack in the plastic dome.
What are we gonna do?
How about 2 choruses of By a Waterfall? By a Waterfall.
Bullwinkle, can't you ever be serious?
Believe me, when I sing, it's serious.
It certainly is, and we'll find out just how serious next time in Leaky Lyrics or Bullwinkle Plugs a Song.
Many years ago, in a humble but dirty cottage deep in the forest, there lived a dirty but humble mud maker. He labored from sunup to sundown making mud, but was very poor, for then, as now, there weren't many people in the market for mud. When his day was done, he left the mud puddle and returned to the cottage where his wife always met him at the door with a hot meal.
Why must you always throw my dinner at me, dearest? Why cannot we sit and quietly sup like other folk?
Because, good husband, I am unhappy.
How can that be? You've got a fine muddy house, fine muddy food, and fine muddy me.
True, but we have no son to keep me company, and I am lonesome.
So saying, she served dessert and shuffled off to bed. This set the old mud maker to wondering, and he thought to himself,
being a mud maker is bad enough, but being a mud maker with an unhappy wife is too much. I must do something.
Early the next morning, he awoke and quietly stole from the house. Crossing through the woods, he finally came to a tiny house made of cheese, where it was said a good fairy lived.
Well, what do you want, you muddy little old man?
Are you the good fairy?
Of course I'm the good fairy. Why ask a stupid question like that?
Well, it's a little hard to tell.
I suppose you want a favor.
Yes, you see, my wife is unhappy.
Big deal.
But if we could have a son to keep her company...
Okay, I get the picture. With a tap of my wand, I grant your wish.
When his head cleared, the old man thanked the good fairy.
Thanks, I think.
And staggered home as fast as he could.
You'll never guess what happened while you were away.
The house burned down.
No, I found a baby boy on the doorstep.
Hooray, it worked. Where is he?
I put him to Thimble.
You mean you put him to bed?
No, I put him to Thimble. Look.
See.
And there, on the table, inside a thimble, slept the tiny son.
But he's so little.
Yes, but he's all ours, and he will grow.
30 years later.
But he's so little.
Why don't you go back to the good fairy and see if she'll give you something to make him grow?
Sure, I can make him grow. Take this magic chickpea and put it under his bed.
Thimble.
Put it under his thimble, then.
The mud maker followed the good fairy's instructions to a pea, and sure enough, within 24 hours...
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Down there.
Good heavens, he's 7 feet tall.
And so is his stomach.
So they called him Thom, and needless to say, the boy lived up to his name.
More food. I'm hungry, hungry, hungry. Eat, eat, eat. Oh, keep it coming, Mama, honey.
It wasn't long before Thom had eaten all there was in the house. Then he set off through the woods, gobbling up everything in his path.
Good grief, I better get back to the good fairy and see what she can do about this.
But when he found her...
Say, good fairy, Hey, what happened to your little house made of cheese?
Oh, some big fat kid ate it and then ran off down the road yelling, food, food!
That's what I wanted to ask you about.
If I ever find out who that brat's father is, I'll turn him into a toad. What was it you wanted to ask me?
You think it'll rain?
No.
Me either. See ya!
Now, it so happened that this was the king's birthday, and among the many fine presents he received was a beautiful fat duck.
Perhaps it is an enchanted duck, Your Highness.
You mean if I kiss it, it'll turn into a keen princess?
Could be, but I was thinking more like maybe it lays golden eggs.
They weren't golden, but they most certainly were eggs. The duck laid eggs by the dozens, the hundreds, the thousands. It seemed as though the duck would never stop, which she didn't. And before long, the castle was filled to overflowing with eggs. Desperate, the king sent out a proclamation.
Hear ye, hear ye! The king offers 1,000 pezuza reward to anyone who can rid the castle of eggs!
Hearing this gave the old mud maker an answer to his problem, and he hurried to the king.
You say that you'll give me your boy, Thom, and he'll get rid of the eggs.
Yes, sir, sire.
Good, then here's your money. Now give me the boy.
Okay, dear, turn him loose.
Thom ate like he never had before. Eggs disappeared as if by magic. He ate them scrambled, fried, boiled, raw. Then he ate the duck. Tables vanished, chairs were missing, huge holes were chewed in the walls.
Oh, we're lost.
And calling for his fastest horse, the king sped to the cottage of the mud maker.
You gotta take him back, or we'll all starve.
I couldn't be an Indian giver, sire.
Oh, humor me. I'm the king.
Sorry.
Well, take him back, and I'll give you a kingdom of your very own.
We'll take it.
Dearest, what can you be thinking?
There, Wallace. I have a plan.
And so it was settled. Thom was returned to the old mud maker, and he in turn was given a kingdom in a far-off land. His wife solved their problem of Thom by feeding him mud pies, which, as we all know, is enough to kill anyone's appetite. And to make certain that they would never be troubled again, no food was allowed in the kingdom. The people were always famished. So the tiny country was called Hungary, and they all lived happily ever after.
Someday for our fan club picnic. Sunshine, blue skies.
Sunshine, blue skies. Terrible, isn't it? But maybe we'll have a sudden storm later.
Okay, here we are. Everybody set for the sack race?
All set.
Captain Peach Fuzz, you're supposed to use an empty sack.
That would make it easier, Rocky.
Hey, your feet are sticking out. That's not fair.
Well, must be a moth hole.
That'd have to be a pretty big moth.
You got a pretty big moth yourself, buddy.
This sack racing seems awful dangerous to me.
Dangerous?
Yeah, might run into a tree or something.
Now, first run to the tree and back wins. Ready, set, go! Gee, I didn't know you were so good at this, Bullwinkle.
It's nothing. I spend a lot of my spare time in the sack, you know.
Time for the Miss Bullwinkle and Rocky Fan Club contest.
All set, darling.
A pretty girl is like a melody.
That's melody.
With Natasha in contest, it's melody.
Where are the other contestants?
What other contestants? She's the only girl in the club.
Sort of narrows down the competition, don't it?
As head judge, Natasha, I'd like to give you this trophy.
Pretty good, Natasha. Last thing you got from a judge was 90 days.
Well, let's eat. Did everybody bring his favorite dish like we decided?
Yep.
Bullwinkle, yours is empty.
This is my favorite dish, Rocky. You didn't mention anything about bringing food.
Hello again, Peabody. And this, of course, is my boy, Sherman.
Hi. Who are we going back into history to meet today, Mr. Peabody?
I'll give you a little clue. Listen closely.
I've got it. Admiral Byrd.
Wrong, Sherman. Whistler.
You mean Wistler, the famous painter?
Correct. Now, if you will set the Wayback Machine for the year 1872...
Right.
And the place, the home of the famous American painter James Wistler in London, England, we shall be on our way. In an instant, Sherman and I were transported to the side of the great artist where we found him hard at work on his most famous painting.
But, Mr. Peabody, I thought his most famous painting was of his mother.
Whistler's mother. That's quite right, Sherman.
But that's not what he's painting. Look.
Something is amiss here. I beg your pardon, sir. May I ask just what it is you're doing?
I'm painting a picture of my mother's chair.
Well, I can see that, but aren't you overlooking something?
Like what?
Like something in the chair?
Like what?
Like your mother?
Oh, yes, Mother. I tried to paint Mother sitting in the chair, but found that to be impossible. I'm afraid I'll just have to be content to paint her chair.
He can't do that, Mr. Peabody. The painting of Whistler's mother will never be famous without his mother in it.
That, Sherman, is a keen observation. Why, sir, may I ask, is it impossible to paint your mother sitting in the chair?
That's why.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Come along and I'll show you.
We followed him out of the house into the backyard where suddenly and without warning, a most unusual thing happened.
Now I've got you, you rustler, you.
Wait, that's not a rustler, it's Whistler.
Mother, please, we have guests.
Mother? You mean that's Whistler's mother?
How do you do, ma'am? Pleased, I'm sure.
Well, howdy, boys. What brings you around these parts?
I'm afraid that Mother's hobby is the Old West. All she ever thinks about is cowboys.
I've noticed that.
And that's why I can't paint her. I can't get her to sit still long enough.
Come on, fellas. Let's play cowboys and Indians. Yahoo!
See what I mean?
Golly, Mr. Peabody, this is a problem.
Quite, Sherman, but I may have the answer. My first task was to lure Whistler's mother back into the house, which, of course, was really very simple. Whoa!
Which way did they go?
That away!
Good! Follow me!
Forming a posse, we all galloped into the house, where I quickly put the second part of my plan into action.
Boy, that was a keen idea, Mr. Peabody. Now she's as still as can be.
Right, Sherman. Pretending to be astride a horse will keep her perfectly happy. You have already painted the chair, sir. Now simply paint your mother sitting in it.
I'll try.
Hours later, the painting was completed. However, not with the exact results I had expected.
Sorry, but I have to paint it like I see it.
Here she comes again, Mr. Peabody.
Yoo-hoo! Bang, bang!
Have you got any more ideas, Mr. Peabody?
I always have more ideas, Sherman. I shall solve the problem with a contest of speed.
Huh?
Dressing the great artist in a cowboy suit, I once more confronted his mother. Word has it that you are the fastest gun in the West, ma'am. Is that true?
That's right, boy. I'm just like greased lightning.
Do you think you are faster than he is?
Land sakes, yes.
Well, are you fast enough to say, give him a slight edge?
Sure. Just name it.
All right, come with me. Moments later, the stage was set. Well, sitting in your chair with your guns covered by your cloak and shawl is quite an edge. Are you certain you wish to go through with it?
Yep. You just give the word.
Placing Wistler in front of his easel, I carefully removed the gun from his holster and replaced it with his trusty paintbrush. Now all was in readiness, so I gave the signal, go! Realizing that he at last had his dear mother just where he wanted her, and that he had to be fast to capture her on canvas, Wistler whipped out his brush, and in the flick of an eye, he painted her portrait.
Hooray! I did it!
Bang! Shucks, he beat me. Guess I'd better go out and do some more practicing. Giddy up!
Gee, it all worked out just right, Mr. Peabody. And this is the painting Wistler became most famous for.
Yes, but for some years there was much confusion as to just who Wistler's mother was, due to an earlier painting of his. This one, to be exact.
But that's a picture of a horse running through the rain. How could that cause confusion as to who his mother was?
Because of what he called the painting.
Mr. Peabody, you mean?
Yes, Sherman. For you see, he called it Wistler's mother.
Well, our last episode sprung a bad leak at the end, remember? For Maybe Dick, the wailing whale, passed over the sunken city of Submerbia and cracked its plastic dome. Now water is flooding into the city, and our friends are up to their necks in trouble.
Nonsense! I'm only up to my knees.
I'm up to my neck.
And I'm up to my second row of medals.
Then we gotta do something.
But what?
How about stuffing something in that hole?
Good idea.
Here, Captain, there's a cork in this bottle.
Great.
But Captain Peach Fuzz wasn't called wrong way for nothing. He threw away the cork and tried to hammer the bottle into the hole.
Hey, I got it. Let's put a bucket under it and catch the water.
What happens when it fills up?
You empty it out and put it... Oh, sorry, Captain.
That won't work either, Bullwinkle.
You know, gentlemen, I've just come to an interesting conclusion.
What's that?
We're all coming to an interesting conclusion, and pretty soon, too.
There must be an answer.
Yeah, if we just use our head bones.
Bullwinkle, that's it.
You said it.
No, you did.
I did. What?
Head bone. Use your head bone.
You gotta narrow that down a little. My head's all bone.
And a yard wide.
Sure it is. Bullwinkle, you can plug up the hole with your antlers.
Sure enough, through a coincidence that defied even the wildest stretch of the imagination, Bullwinkle's antler exactly fit the leak in the plastic dome.
Submerbia is saved.
I feel like what's-his-name at the dike.
Rocky, you're a squirrel of infinite mental rectitude.
He's pretty smart, too.
In a little while, Submerbia workmen were repairing the dome around Bullwinkle's antlers. And shortly thereafter, Mayor Pompano was taking our heroes on a tour of the city.
And this is our main thoroughfare. We call it Shad Row.
Very interesting, Mayor Pompano, but we've really got to get going.
Going? We just got here, Rock.
Bullwinkle, did you forget we're supposed to be hunting for Maybe Dick?
No, but I sure tried.
And a short time later, our friends were on board one of those small Submerbian underwater scooters, prepared to resume their search for the wailing whale, only this time with torpedoes instead of a fishpole.
Engine room, this is the captain.
Captain, this is the engine.
You mean you're the engineer?
I mean I'm the engine.
Well, full speed ahead, engine.
Aye, aye, sir.
And powered by Bullwinkle's mighty moose muscle, the strange craft moved through a Submerbian escape hatch and into the strange undersea world outside.
This is the life, eh, Rocky? We're as snug as a bug in a sub.
What do you see in the periscope, Captain?
It must be bust, Rocky. All I can see is my own eye.
Maybe it's just a reflection. Let me have a look.
But what Rocky saw made his fur stand on end.
That's an eye, all right, but it's not a reflection.
No?
My eyes are blue. That eye is brown.
You mean somebody's looking into our periscope?
Oh, boy, was somebody looking into their periscope.
Captain, it's Maybe Dick. He's right behind us.
All hands on deck. Loop the bleep bat in the button. Jettison the supercargo.
Why so many orders, Captain?
One of them's bound to be right.
Bullwinkle, let's get out of here.
Right, Rock!
And the mighty moose began to pedal faster and faster. Slowly, the tiny submarine drew away from the monster behind it, and it looked as if they might escape when suddenly...
I'll teach you, you wailing whale. Fire one!
But missing the torpedo lever entirely, Captain Peach Fuzz hit the reverse gear control. Instantly, the tiny sub was swallowed up by the cavernous mouth of Maybe Dick. Then, for the first time in history, Maybe Dick actually smiled. Assuming there is one. Don't miss our next episode, Follow the Swallow, or The Inside Story.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say.
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
Already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible.
That's not all.
My fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle?